bells ring, but I think it's 5:30 and we have a quorum, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. And if you would kindly call the roll, Ms. Sturgellen.
Here. Margaret Clements.
Here.
Skip Daly.
Joining. Oh, he's here.
Okay.
Oh, he's limping.
Guy Loftman.
Here.
Jeff Morris. And Pamela Davidson.
Here.
All right, so we have 4 members in person and a quorum.
And would you kindly introduce the evidence, Jackie?
Sure. I'd like to introduce the following items into the evidence. The Monroe County Development Ordinance as adopted and amended. The Monroe County Comprehensive Plan as adopted and amended. The Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals Rules of Procedure as adopted and amended. And the cases that were legally advertised and scheduled for a hearing on tonight's agenda.
Is there a motion to approve?
I would like to move that we approve the evidence as just outlined for this evening. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the introduction of evidence. A vote yes is a vote to approve. Skip Daly.
Yes.
Pamela Davidson.
Yes.
Guy Loftman.
Yes.
Margaret Clements.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 4-0.
Now, there's been one item on the agenda that's been continued by the petitioner, and that is for a property at 6611 South Rockport Road. So if you're here for that or dialed in for that, we will not be hearing that tonight. But it has been continued by the petitioner. And other than that, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve tonight's agenda as amended, as indicated.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda as published. A vote yes is a vote to approve. Pamela Davidson.
Yes.
Guy Loftman.
Yes.
Margaret Clements.
Yes.
Skip Daly.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 4-0.
Okay, and we have one set of minutes that are subject to our approval tonight, and that's for the November 5th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes of November 5th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for November 5th, 2025. A vote yes is a vote to approve. Guy Loftman.
Yes.
Margaret Clements.
Yes.
Pamela Davidson.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0. I'll note for the record, Skip Daly just exited the room, but we have enough people to approve the minutes.
Okay, there's no administrative business, and we'll go directly to new business. And the first item under new business on our agenda is VAR-25-81, and that's the Stallion Eco Area 2, 1 acre contiguous buildable area variance to Chapter 823 concerning 5.54 plus or minus acre parcel in Perry Township, Section 35 at 6050 South Airline Road. And I believe Mr. Brown will be reviewing this with us.
Thank you. So the purpose of this request is the petitioner is proposing to convert an existing single-family residence into a tourist home or cabin. It has been found that the subject property does not meet one of the standards in Chapter 823 regarding the Environmental Constraints Overlay Area 2, however. There is an exemption in the ordinance from this standard for the construction of a single-family residence, but it does not apply to the conversion of single-family residences to another use. At this time, the petitioner is not proposing any further development and is only pursuing a permit to change the use of the property. So part of the reason for the 1 acre of contiguous buildable area in the eco area is to ensure development can occur in areas that do not lead to runoff of soil. Excluding setbacks, this petitioner has very minimal buildable area existing, less than 0.1 acre when excluding required front yard setback standards. The petitioner did remove and set a new modular home on the property in 2025, receiving a certificate of occupancy for that in 2025. However, that was replacing the footprint of an existing family residence that was damaged. And since it was still under the use as a single family residence, they were able to qualify for certain exemptions. The septic and home area would have otherwise required buildable area variances for being located in steep slope area, as well as the requirements for the 1 acre contiguous buildable area. Now that the new home has been complete and is ready for occupancy, the petitioner would like to proceed with converting it to a short-term rental. Have they received an original building permit for a tourist home or cabin originally, the additional variance for a slope disturbance would have been required, as the structure would not have qualified for an exemption. And here are the eco standards as listed for Area 2. The one that they do not meet is number 4. Staff has measured that the property only has about 0.26 plus or minus acres of area under 15% slope. Only of this, about 0.6 acres is in the front yard area setback, leaving only about 0.1 acres of buildable area meeting setback standards. The area of the buildable area is not located near the existing home and is located at the south property line. And here are the areas in question, and here are maps showing the areas in question. A viewpoint of the area using Eagle View. And here's a view of the new home as it stands currently. As you can see on the right side of the image, it does run off its steep slope fairly quickly. And here's an image of the site plan that the petitioner used for the building permits, as well as what was submitted for the variance. Staff recommends approval of VAR-25-81 as practical difficulties have not been demonstrated. The lot cannot meet the residential area requirement. This variance would be needed for any new development on the subject property unless an administrative subdivision is pursued. And I will take any questions.
Well, I think we'll hear directly from the petitioner and then from the public, and we might have questions in the future. So if Mr. Stallion is here, if you would kindly come to the podium and sign in, then I'll swear you in. I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly.
Devlin Stallion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stallion. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna help her.
Okay, thank you.
Look how huge she
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
During this recess, can you share with me was there something pulled from tonight's agenda?
No, it was just what was continued by the petitioner. Okay.
I want to double check, so
Yes.
we have the 3 items.
We just have, no, we have 3, yes, 3.
I've signed in.
Yes, and would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, you'll have 15 minutes to make your presentation and your petition to us. 15 minutes.
Okay. I apologize. I didn't know that that was part of the process. I thought this would have been pre-reviewed.
It is, but we,
Okay.
we want to hear from you.
Okay.
Sorry if I'm not clear enough or if my words aren't the right thing, but basically, we'd like to hear from you what you're seeking and why
Okay.
you would like our approval.
Okay, no problem. So my name is Devlin Stallion. My wife and I bought this property shortly after COVID. I'm originally from southern Oklahoma. I live down a dead-end road, rural area. It's a dirt road. This is a paved road, and I've got 3 daughters, and we just wanted to buy the property to have an escape, to go out into the natural area and things of that nature. It resonates with me personally, but as a chance to build something for me and my family, like financially, as well as a place for us to enjoy each other's time, we thought of the property to purchase it as a chance for income property as well, so we're not just straight W-2 employees, that kind of thing, just all together. We saw the property listing and we just knew it was 100% the right choice, the perfect location. It was beautiful. We bought it not knowing all of the regulations and things like that here in Monroe County. But we've come much more familiar with the assistance of Mr. Brown and the Highway Department. I met with Jackie as well on one occasion. But as part of the making it a short-term rental, the opportunity to get some additional income, we thought, while the value to us was personally like the natural habitat, like it's 5 acres that goes down into the creek bottom. It's just a beautiful, serene, quiet place. We thought that people would also like to enjoy that, and we'd like to maintain that just as and build it as a quiet retreat for people to escape. Whenever we bought it, shortly after we bought it, we put tens of thousands of dollars into it to make the old structure habitable. And shortly after that, a massive red oak tree had some root rot and just actually crushed it all the way down. Didn't crush it, but it damaged it all the way down to the limestone foundation. It was a really quirky, unique little cabin that had been originally built in the 1920s. Had a lot of character. But then everything changed whenever the tree destroyed it. And then going through that the insurance process and the rebuild, that's when we actually learned that you had to change it from tourist home, from residential. The use change is the whole purpose here. Sorry. Yeah, and then, so we're going through the formal process of converting it to tourist home / cabin, and it's our understanding that the CDO, the ordinance, like that's one of the primary allowed uses for it, with restrictions or specific conditions, and we plan to just keep it in that same, to maintain the character of the road, the rural area. And from our understanding, the variance that we need for it to successfully and officially be transferred is just, it's more of an administrative thing is the way I interpret it, because we're not building a new structure or like making a new structure with septic and all that. That's all I've got for here, but I'm open to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you. My colleagues might have questions for you.
I have 2 questions. The picture that we looked at of the structure, which you put on the same footprint as your damaged tree, hey, no one was in the house when the tree fell, was it?
No,
Thank
thankfully.
goodness for that. That's a terrible story. Anyway, this driveway looks pretty rough, or the entrance area. Does it still look like that?
It still looks like this currently. They just finished placing it, and there's like a bunch of issues with this concrete thing here, that's like a cistern, and like that was damaged in the demolition. And this right here is it was originally like a fire pit area, and underneath it there is what did they call it, a water right of way. It's a drainage pipe from Mr. and Mrs. Young's property that's on the other side of the road. Yeah.
The driveway is actually down by the garage.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is
in the
not the
very-
access
that's not
point.
a driveway.
Ah, wonderful. That looks pretty rough. It does look like you get a good amount of erosion in that area. I would think that would be true. I can see that from that.
Yes. And
Picture.
the highway department's going to come in and put a culvert in there and gravel it, and we're going to make it more of a patio. But the only formal driveway is right in front of the garage or parking area. And I met with the highway department representative yesterday, and he made it. I just wanted to have an understanding of what exactly isn't required for it. So,
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Stallion?
Not at this time for me.
Bailey? Do you have any questions for him or for staff?
I do not. I just want to confirm with Mr. Brown, recommending approval on this?
Yes, practical difficulties have been demonstrated, or staff feels that they have.
But it would seem, but
Yeah, the lot could not be expanded without an administrative subdivision being pursued, and this variance would be needed for any new developments.
repeat that last sentence.
This variance would be needed for any new development.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stallion. I'm going to turn to the public. If there's anyone who is speaking against it, you'll have an opportunity to return.
Thank you.
Are there members of the public who would like to speak in favor of this petition? If so, please come to the podium or raise your virtual hand on Teams. Do we see anyone? Are there members of the public who would like to speak in opposition to this petition? Please come to the podium and sign in, and then I'll swear you in. So if you would lower the mic so that we can hear you, and state your name.
My name is Shannon Robinson. I reside at 6110 South Airline Road.
And would you raise your right hand? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You'll have 3 minutes to express your opposition to this petition.
Thank you. My name is Shannon Robinson. I reside at 6110 South Airline Road, Bloomington, Indiana 47401. I've lived at this address since September of 1997. I have no ill will toward the petitioners here, but I oppose the variance from residential to tourism/cabin for a number of reasons. First of all, Airline Road is more of a lane than it is a road. 2 vehicles cannot pass on Airline Road without somebody getting off the pavement, because either both cars have to get slightly off, or one car's got to pull over and let somebody go by. In order to get to the 6050 address that they want to have this Airbnb on, basically, you have to go through 4 90-degree turns, 4 of them. And 2 of them completely blind, even with the foliage off in the winter like it is now. The other 2 with the foliage on are not so bad. On the side of this road are steep ravines and trees. It's a very wooded road. There are only 9 residents located on Airline Road. It's about a mile long down the road. The residents know and understand the road and the need to use caution on this road. I do not believe out-of-state, unknown travelers, unknown strangers would be familiar with it and know that necessity to use that caution on these curves. I think that this is really a safety issue for the residents and even the potential tenants of this Airbnb. Airline Road dead ends at my house. And so if anyone goes by their address at 6050 and keeps going on down the road, be it dark, be it their light, be it they missed it, they've got to turn around in my driveway to get back out. The county maintains the road down to my driveway, such as it is. I mean, I'm not blaming the county. I love the county for maintaining my road. But we have very, very little traffic on the road. And I do not want strangers out on my property, particularly considering its absolutely isolated location. They were operating Airbnb already before they ever provided for this variance. They were operating it under the name of the Headless Goose Cabin. And they had it advertised on Airbnb, they have it advertised on Basecamp, they have it advertised on Verbu, and they were saying, we take up to 6 occupants. 6 occupants. That's what it says on their own advertising here. Sleep 6. Sleep 6. Not only that, they also had it where you would have outdoor fire pit, open burning at ground level, where they had a fire pit. And they have photographs of it on their advertising, where they had this ground level fire pit, open burning. This is a very wooded area. I don't know that people from out of state or people, visitors, would abide by no burn ordinances or things of that nature.
Thank you. Your 3 minutes is up. So thank you for your
Well,
testimony.
I did make a video of the road for you to watch. I cannot get signed in, I cannot play it, but I think that if either drive the road or watch a video of the road and you'll see my concerns.
Thank you, Mrs. Robertson.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I understand there's a gentleman who would like to speak in opposition to the petition. If you would kindly come to the podium and sign in, and then I'll swear you in. And you'll have to adjust the microphone so that, is there a pen there?
Yes, it took me a second to find it, though.
Yes.
Hi, thank you.
Would you raise the microphone
yes,
so
sorry.
that we can, and also your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, and please state your name.
My name is Brad Ehrman.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Ehrman.
also live at 6110 South Airline Road since September of 1997. As my wife mentioned, it is not a neighborhood in any conventional sense. It is a one-lane road that weaves back into the woods. It offers privacy and security. I can't speak for my neighbors, but that's why we bought our property. A commercial business operating in the middle of this road erodes our privacy and our security and our seclusion, and for that reason I oppose this variance. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have questions.
I have a few questions. We heard your wife testify that it's been operated as a business, it's been on the internet and so on. Do you know if there have been any accidents on the road since any traffic mishaps
Not that I
with
know
those
of,
users?
and to the best of my knowledge, the answer is no.
Okay, that was my most important question.
Okay, and then we'll hear now from Mr. Stallion. If you would kindly come back to the podium. You're still under oath, and you have 5 minutes to rebut.
Devlin Stallion back at the mic.
Yes.
We did have the business running for a handful of months, completely oblivious to the rules and regulations, but going through the process, became more than aware, going through, making every intent to be completely, reading all, getting with the county health department and things of that nature, completely above board. I don't know what you don't know, but now we definitely do. With the concern for the safety of the road, she was correct. Like, we did previously have it to where we could have 6 residents, people staying, but we have addressed it in our letter to the board, saying we would only allow 1 car and 2 adults. And if they have kids, I don't feel like we could restrict that if that was the case. But I would contend that the Airbnb with the restriction of 1 car would it's all subjective, it's all speculation, but I think it would probably be less traffic than having if somebody were to buy it from Indy, they could bring 3-4 cars up here every weekend if they wanted to, but we have a strict restriction of 1 car. I was a law enforcement in the military for 12 years, worked in 5 different countries, and most traffic accidents are stop signs and in parking lots and stuff. I think people have their wits about them enough to see you're going over a hill and around a turn, just got to slow down. So I don't really have the same concern for the safety concern that's there. We'd be more than happy to make it very blunt and in anything that's provided on the business advertisement saying, hey, this is down a 1-lane road, you have to go slow, be careful, and things of that nature. And then I don't know what to say about their security and safety concerns, but it is a public road. I think that's all I have to say about that, but if you have any questions, more than happy to answer them.
Questions for Mr. Stallion?
Yeah, so as is, you could use this for your own personal residence.
We could, or we could rent it out traditionally.
Right, but you bought it as a retreat, And you could go out there on the weekends or anytime
Yes,
you
sir.
wanted to and use it for the,
And we still can, and we do. We've stayed out there.
right, if you haven't got it rented out or you just want to have it for yourselves that weekend, you rent it, and then sometimes you rent it out depending on whether you want to use it. And did you buy it with the intention of using it for rental?
For both purposes,
Yeah.
personal and,
Right, right.
like, I like to be out. Like, we live in a neighborhood in town now, and it's just a really nice little escape.
Right, I get the escape. That's not controversial.
But when we did purchase it, we did want to rent it out.
Right, and you it didn't strike you as something that might be wise to do to see if a commercial use at that remote location would be something that might be regulated? I mean,
No, sir. Like, where I'm from, like, just rural Oklahoma, like, there's like, those things don't exist. Those, this type of regulations that I've come to learn in the last year since we started the rebuild.
right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Well, I return to us for,
Mr. Daly, I
oh,
think
Mr.
might
Daly, do you have a question for Mr. Stallion?
I do.
Okay.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
She beat me to it. But the sentiment remains. Quick question for you. The driveway.
Yes.
Can you walk us through if Mr. Brown could find a shot of where that driveway is?
I can explain it with this picture.
Pardon?
Which driveway are we talking about?
There's only one driveway,
Yeah,
That's
one
What I-
parking area.
right. Could you point to where that is, as if Mr. Brown can find an appropriate?
he has a
Okay,
drawing.
there we go. Yep.
Yeah.
That's perfectly shows it here. There's the garage, and there's a 25-foot wide pad there that goes about 20 to 23 feet deep off of the road.
Okay. And
Was-
how many vehicles does that driveway appear to?
It could hold two, but we
Okay.
would restrict it to one if we were renting it out as a short-term rental.
And was that pad there with the house that got
Everything was
destroyed?
there.
That was already existing?
Yes, ma'am.
So all you've done is rebuild in the original footprint from a weather-related insurance claim,
Yes, sir.
and now you're backtracking to say, oh, whoops, we need to make sure that we have the right variance in order to do short-term rental on this. Is that sum it up?
I mean, that could be one
Yeah.
assessment, but
Yeah.
it's that wasn't our intent. We didn't learn about it until we were doing the rebuild.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question for staff. I mean, this isn't a use variance.
No, it isn't.
This is just a variance on the slope, so it has really nothing to do with the use as a short-term rental, if I understand. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
So they would be able to continue using it as a single-family residence if they did not get this variance. This variance was activated by the fact that they did wish to convert it to a short-term rental, tourist home / cabin. And the variance is for the 1 acre of contiguous buildable area, which would be needed for any further development on this lot, say an expansion of a structure or new structure.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. However, in all objectivity, the objection from the member of the community was based on a safety issue, based on the usage. So I do feel it's relevant to at least discuss.
Yes.
But I think realistically, I think the point that was going through my head and the point that was made in testimony by the petitioner, that there is significantly less traffic caused by his intended use of this as opposed to a 24/7 residency with 2.5 vehicles, 2.5 kids, and a couple of animals, right? We're looking at short-term rentals, and those are limited largely to weekends if you follow the industry. So I think the point that he made really addresses the one concern that was brought up of safety, which would be relevant to what our jobs are.
And I would add to that as a postscript, we heard his neighbor say, if you know the road, you know the road. That is very, very true. This whole county, this whole area is filled with long and winding roads with 90-degree. You drive out to Gosport and it's like that with 90-degree turns. So we understand that, but you are right. People that are unfamiliar with it, there's always a risk, but there's always a risk with people who are familiar with it, frankly. So it's just part of the topography that we all enjoy and love about this area more than anything.
And irrelevant to our decision, I will trust, and I'll leave this rhetorically, that you will go back over, based on concerns of neighborhoods, regardless of this decision, and make sure your communication with potential renters is based on the utmost safety and concern of the neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
And can I add a PS to that? Your neighbor said they're going to drive by that house and miss it and drive down the street and turn around in my driveway. Is it possible to make the address seeable? As somebody who drives around constantly in strange cities looking for house numbers, it is terrible how badly marked they generally are. So if you can help with that concern that is less likely, that may be a good thing.
I can absolutely do that. And the property is it's like you saw it with it's got a yellow door, they're going to know they're there. There'll be lighting and things. But we can definitely put 60-50-year line. You're here.
Yeah, let me follow up just a little bit. If it weren't, there's no restriction on this use in this zoning district.
There's standards. There are several standards that they have to meet for a tourist home or cabin, but it's permitted upon meeting those standards.
Okay, and do they meet all of those standards except the slope, or do they meet all the standards and the slope is only because they want to change the use?
The latter.
Okay.
And also, I will note, it says no more than 2 guests per guest room, so I think once they have it up and running, if they are still renting it for, say, 6 guests, and they only have 1 guest room because it is a 1-bedroom house, that would be against that standard, so we could enforce on that if we needed to. So
There's a
regarding the
limit,
driveway and the
given that
traffic.
it's 1 bedroom, there's a limit to 2 people who could stay there.
Essentially, yes.
With kids out in the living room and pull out.
No, it's a,
He said
2 guests.
kids, plus kids.
We do make exceptions for dependents of those guests. So if they have 2
Okay.
guests and 1 child, we would not enforce on that. So.
okay. And so the reason they need this is because they're trying to make a change. If they wanted to change the footprint, they would need something like this. Would this change allow them to change the footprint?
They would still need a buildable area variance in addition because the house is on steep slopes. So they would be coming back for another variance. They would need this variance first, but then they would still have to come back for a particular development in the steep slope area.
Okay, I think I've got the picture clear, and Mr. Daly seems to have some.
The petitioner was requesting permission to speak, and I was suggesting that he might want to hold off based on the nature of his inquiry until after we make a decision.
Got it.
And may I add, Mr. Loftman, we are not really concerned about the slopes because they had a weather catastrophe and used the same footprint. What we are concerned is the size of the lot. So it cannot be changed, the size of that lot.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
It's got nuances, and I'm satisfied that I have a reasonable grasp on them.
Right.
Okay, well, is there a motion then?
I'm going to move that we approve variance 25-81, the Stallion Echo Area 2, one area contiguous buildable area variance to Chapter 823, because practical difficulties has been met. The lot cannot meet the residence area requirement. And I am very compelled by the comments of Mr. Daly that such a use is probably less of a use than occupied residency or full-time rental, which is a plus for neighbor concerns.
I'm going to make a quick
Amendment.
recommendation. No, a recommendation before anybody seconds or discusses your motion, that we check in with Mr. Morris because he's online, and I don't know if this kind of new format, if how easy it is to see whether or not he. So, Mr. Morris, if you're there, do you have anything to add before somebody might make a motion?
His hand is raised, and I think text services has to unmute him, and he has to unmute himself.
And I don't think he was in the roll call, was he?
He wasn't at that
Was
time,
he
but
at
if
the
he's
time?
here
But
now.
now he's here before the first vote.
Tech Services, can I go ahead and allow the mic for Mr. Morris? Or, oh, you already
Yeah.
have. Okay, thanks.
It looks like I can speak now, Jackie, but I still, oh, now I can turn my camera on, sorry.
Did you have anything
Okay,
you
there
wanted
we
to
go.
add, Jeff? Oh, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for the record, I've actually been here the whole time, but have been unable to unmute or turn my camera on. So thank you, Mr. Daly, for recognizing that. But my main comment is really centered around the conversation that we've already had, and that is the fact that, you know, I do have concerns about this use being an Airbnb for the safety aspect of the road, and just the fact that this is a small neighborhood that you're bringing different people into on a regular basis potentially. But I think based upon the fact that this variance is really about the slope, that's what I'm focused on. So that's my only comment.
So, about the
I
slope.
think the slope, I know, but I still don't understand it. Okay. All right, so my motion,
Anyone second
anybody
that?
wants to second it?
I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve VAR-25-81, which is the Stallion Eco Area 2, 1 acre contiguous buildable area to Chapter 823. A vote yes is a vote to approve the variance. Guy Loftman?
I want to explain that I have great sympathy with the concerns of the opponents, of the neighbors, but I don't. A tourist home is allowed in this, and the history of this property is consistent with that, and it is. If somebody just bought it and moved in with their family, it would certainly be more traffic, maybe fewer people ending up down in the petitioner's driveway and the opponent's driveway, but I find that the variance is appropriate and vote in favor of it.
Jeff Morris?
Yes.
Pamela Davidson?
Yes.
Margaret Clements?
Yes.
Skip Daly?
And I will add some commentary as well. As valid as the concerns are of the objecting parties, it is not pertinent within our jurisdiction of voting. So yes.
Okay, the motion is approved 5-0.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank the Robinson, your neighbors. I really want to thank you for coming to speak and expressing your concerns, because I think the result will be better. Mr. Stallion has heard your concerns, and there have been recommendations by the Board of Zoning Appeals as far as signage for the Airbnb, and we just hope that everyone can live together as good neighbors, and that everyone's happy with the outcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for.
And safe as well.
Yes, thank you for coming out tonight. Okay, we move on to items number 2 and 3 on the agenda, and this is the Willard Eco Area 2 concerning a 1-acre contiguous buildable area variance to Chapter 823, and the Willard Eco Area 2 15% slope encroachment variance to Chapter 823 concerning 8.24 plus or minus acre parcel in Polk Township, Section 20, at 8900 South Roberts Road. And I believe Mr. Brown will review this with us.
Thank you. So the purpose of this petition is that the petitioner is proposing to establish a residential accessory structure in the form of a 12 by 20 foot shed on the property, along with a proposed retaining wall adjacent to it. In addition, the petitioner has also applied for an attached 12 by 18 awning by the home within buildable area, but that's not the subject of this variance. It has been found that the subject property does not meet 2 of the standards of the Chapter 823 regarding the Environmental Constraints Overlay Area 2. Hence, this variance petition is required. There is an exception in the ordinance from the standard from the construction of a single-family residence, but it does not apply to accessory structures or additions. The petitioner's property contains very little buildable area. The home, driveway, and garden areas currently take up the entire buildable area on the property that is close to the road, leaving no other area for development. The septic system is existing and is in front of the house. The property does not meet 2 of the 4 requirements listed for properties in the Eco Area 2. The first is the 15% slope requirements. It has been estimated that the proposed structure and retaining wall will be completely in an area between 18.1% slope and 24.99% slope. The other is that each dwelling unit must have at least 1 acre of contiguous buildable area. Staff has measured that the largest amount of contiguous buildable area under 15% slope is only an estimated 0.49 acres, but that 0.49 acres is on the southeastern end of the property, nowhere near the proposed building site, and accessing it would require either an easement to South Holland Ridge or a driveway to cross areas over 25% slope or greater. This variance is the minimum needed to allow any further development, even within the buildable area, such as the proposed awning. If any further slope is proposed in the steep slopes area, the ordinance will require the owner to return to the Board of Zoning Appeals for further variance approvals. Furthermore, approving this variance does not allow the petitioner ability to develop further into steep slope areas beyond what they are proposing for the current site plan. And here is the location and zoning map. Here is the comprehensive plan and site conditions map. Here is an eagle view photo of the property. And for the images, on the left is the existing home, and on the right is the proposed area for the shed. And here are site maps that were submitted by the petitioner. The one on the left was the original site plan that I believe was included in the packet. Since then, we have obtained the image on the right, which shows the location of the shed. It's a bit clearer for digital attachments. It also attempted to show a slope over a 50-foot run across the building site using a transit tool. And staff recommends approval of VAR-25-2082A as practical difficulties have been demonstrated. The lot cannot meet the contiguous buildable area requirement. This variance would be needed for any new development on the subject property unless the administrative subdivision is pursued. And even if the land were to be purchased to add the property, it would not add buildable area near the existing built-out structures on the lot. However, we do recommend denial of VAR-25-82B as practical difficulties have now been demonstrated by the petitioner. And I will take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I think we'll hear from the petitioner first. And yes, sir, if you would kindly come to the podium and sign in, and then I'll swear you in. Okay, would you state your name for the record?
Christopher Salem Willard.
Mr. Willard, would you raise your right hand, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You have 15 minutes to review your requests with us.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here this evening to hear my petition. For those of y'all who don't know me, I am a local farmer. I have another property on South Roberts Road as well, 9127, where I have a small organic farm that my wife and I operate together. Prior to that, I also was a landscape architect and designer under a business called Bread and Roses Gardens that I co-owned with my business partner, Jonas Carpenter. And so over the 10 years that we ran that business together, I have since backed away so that I can take care of the farm exclusively. But during that time, I installed everything you can imagine in terms of a landscape: fences, hardscaping, raised beds, retaining walls. I've done a lot of work in this area. So I'm just saying that to let you know my background and to let you know where I'm coming from. I have a very simple request that you're here to review. I would just like to put a small garden shed on my property, and I understand that the property is very sloped. I understand that better than most people because I have worked very hard to try to make a garden work on this property. So, and the slope is a definite issue. I'd like to also add that this is the absolute last thing I ever want to do on this property. I am not asking for a variance so that I can try to go up this crazy slope, which you can see as you go behind the house further towards the woods. It is steep, and I am not that young anymore. I do not have any interest in trying to develop anything. All I would like to do is put a garden shed, and I picked, as you can see here, the last remaining flat, reasonable to be considered space to put in this shed. Doing so will help me improve my business. It will give me the ability to store my tools, which currently are either in the barn. They're all over the place because I don't have places to put them. So I'm hoping that you will hear my petition and understand that I'm trying to do everything that I can to be as respectful to the land. I'm not trying to make, I'm not trying to build something on the insane slopes. I'm working with what I have, and this is what I have that's left, where I can expand slightly, ever so slightly. I have additional copies of what I measured myself, which is the cross-sectional slope, if I may present them to the board.
Thank you.
We need you to speak in the microphone.
And just for the record, moving forward, should you have something else to pass out to us, just ask for permission to approach. Thanks.
So as you can see, I've had many conversations with Mr. Brown. I've been trying to do everything as, above board as possible. I've did my own measurements because, as I said, I have done this in the past as a part of my profession. While I understand that the property in general does not meet these standards because of the slopes, the extreme slopes are all back here behind the property. So everything, and I have actually other pictures. I don't know if we're able to see them from the attachments that I sent in, just to further illustrate how flat that ground is where I'm proposing to build. I mean, I basically don't have any options, and I'm trying to do everything by the book, and that's why I'm here before you today to make this request, because I do feel like it is a reasonable request, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah. I would like to add in regards to, I understand why these restrictions are in place. See, here's a picture where you can see I parked my truck right next to the proposed building site. And while back there it is sloped, I'm trying to work on the flat ground. I actually, as a part of our farm, have multiple grants open with the USDA, the National Resource Conservation Service, and the Soil and Water Conservation District. That is to say, I go above and beyond in all of my work to make sure I respect the land and take care of it. I would never do anything that would jeopardize further erosion. I'm a no-till farmer. We don't even use tractors. Everything is done by hand. And yes, and so this is further illustration of how flat the ground is around the actual proposed shed. While I understand the rest of the property is extremely sloped in places, I would never imagine trying to build anywhere like that. My only, like I said, this is what I have to work with. And I thank you for hearing my spiel. I'm a little nervous, obviously, but thank you, and I'm more than happy to take any questions and anything else that I can do to help you with making your decision today.
Hang on just a second. Mr. Brown, are there any other areas on that property where a shed could be constructed? And my second question is, what is the size of the shed? From this picture, I can't tell proportionally compared to the house and so on. Is it a large shed, a
12 by
medium
20,
size?
12 by 20.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I can happily adjust the size if that is an issue as well.
So, Mr. Brown, is there any other area on that property to build?
Based on the LiDAR that we saw in Beacon, the existing structures, driveway, and garden take up all of the buildable area that is adjacent to the road. As mentioned previously, there is some area of non-steep slope in the southeastern portion of the property, but that would require either an easement to access it or possibly even a driveway that crosses the areas of 25% slope or greater.
Which would be a lot of disruption. Okay.
Mr. Daly?
Again, my questions are for Mr. Brown as well. One, did the petitioner provide a, maybe I missed it, a image of what the property would look like with the structure on it?
They did provide a site plan as shown on screen.
Just a two-dimensional, not like an image with, hey, here's the shed, and this is what it looks like with the.
They didn't do
Okay.
it yet.
All right. My other question for you is, you mentioned recommendation of denial of part 2 of this for practical difficulties. I'm not challenging you here. I'm just trying to understand what was in your head. A through D, is that right? Are we in chapter 850 on this?
Sorry, I was pulling up the building permit side view of the accessory structure. I'm a little bit behind, but this is the side view that the petitioner applied for with the shed.
All right.
That's
What
accurate.
what letter of the practical difficulties did you feel didn't work out? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to understand. I'm looking through the practical difficulties, and I just want to know if I'm missing something. Did something?
Could I just refer us to the packet? First of all, the findings of Mr. Brown were that the property is proximate to the Lake Monroe and is located in the environmental constraints overlay area. 2, and eco area regulations exist to protect the water quality and supply of Lake Monroe. And the county development ordinance only allows an exception from the 1 acre contiguous buildable area and the 15% slope encroachments for the establishment of a new single-family residence. So if this were a new single-family residence being proposed, it's possible that we could consider the variance, but since it's not, it's an accessory structure, we're not necessarily in titled to review the variance for the accessory structure. Am I correct?
I think it's the other way around. So the exception under the code is only for new single-family residences, but the section about the exception would only apply if they didn't have any other buildable area. I think the question that Mr. Daly has is under the findings under 841-4, there's a section under 3, and we did provide findings under A, which is the 1 acre contiguous and support, but it looks like maybe the question is what finding is negative for B, which I don't see that is in the report, but stated in the PowerPoint presentation is just that under the, the definition of practical difficulties, it's always difficult for staff to find practical difficulties if the property's already built out as a primary use and they want to add additional accessory uses, such as, in this case, the petitioner has provided you testimony why there's a practical difficulty in not having a shed, but in other cases, some people may come before you for like a swimming pool or a rather large pole barn, and it would be a little bit under your discretion or a review of the findings to determine if that's a practical difficulty.
And to piggyback on what you just said, landscaping business, farming business, gardening business, you do need a place to accumulate your tools in that situation. That makes so much sense in terms of the use of the property already. And by the caretaking, we are well served in your depth of experience that you've described. The retaining wall, does that help with the erosion? Because we're all concerned about the erosion into the lake. Is that a plus in terms of reducing that risk? I'm unaware, I don't know.
I would say that since I believe the retaining wall is going on the side where the ground is sloped up, so I'm sure it's also in part to probably divert some water from going directly into the structure, but the petitioner could.
I believe Mr. Loftman had a...
Yeah, I'm looking at this diagram that you gave to us, and if I'm interpreting it correctly, you've got the southwest to northeast axis there, which shows 8.167 degree slope within 50 feet of the center of the cabin.
Can I
Yes.
revise that slightly? So what I did is I was told I needed to measure a 50-foot section
Yes.
by the planning department. So I did a cross-section where I put the transit in the center of the proposed site and went 25 feet in each cardinal direction based on the orientation that I would like to build the shed. So it is a 50-foot run from the top southwest corner to the bottom northeast corner, for example.
Right.
So that's a 49-inch rise over a 50-foot
And that's
run.
8.167% slope.
Yes. However, yes. that is
However,
correct. However, the actual site where the shed is planned, where I am hoping to be building the shed, is actually practically flat by all purposes. Like that's why I provided multiple photographic evidence.
so,
Pieces of evidence.
Mr. Brown, I hear evidence that while the general area is steeper, that this particular 50-foot by 50-foot square is not within the prohibited slope. Does what I just said make sense? That it could be a small area might be buildable, might be usable, whereas the area around it might be too steep.
So it is possible that the area around it is too steep. However, my understanding is that the measurements should be 50 feet on each side rather than the 25 that was done. That is how we do it. That is what is stated in the county development ordinance as how slope is to be measured.
Okay, there is the missing piece of information that I needed, is that this drawing needed to go out 50 feet. If you went out 50 feet, do you think it would be too steep under the ordinance? Or,
I'd like to add to that. I can't tell you because I didn't do those measurements. I think based on extrapolating from those numbers, I would think that it would be within 8 to 12% if I went. The only direction really that is a problem is this direction. Everything in this direction and continuing this way, if we have photos, is for all practical purposes flat. When you go in this direction, no matter what you do, it's going to be steep, but I would never propose trying to build on something that's steep.
right, so,
And in addition to that, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt, I'm sorry. I did multiple times ask for clarity as to how to measure this cross-section, and I proposed exactly this and was said, that sounds okay, go for it, please submit that. And that is what I've done. I found out yesterday that I was supposed to actually have measured 50 feet in every direction. But it was something that I was trying my utmost to do responsibly the entire time.
as you understand it, you sought guidance and were told 25 feet was okay.
I said a 50-foot cross-section, such as this, that I have drawn.
Right.
And I went with that information with that to clarify, and I was told, okay, go for it. That would be helpful. But I was not aware until yesterday that that would be this big of an issue.
Right. Well, it's a fairly big issue to me, because if this 100 by 100 square is within the slope, this seems to be the kind of detail that's very important. 50 by 50 is clearly okay. The ordinance says 100 by 100. If I understand, 50 feet on each side, not 25 feet on each side. Is that right, Mr. Brown?
So I can read into the record what the ordinance states. So it
Okay,
says,
thank
the
you.
percent slope shall be measured as a 6-foot fall in any 50-foot distance. And this is Eco 2, right? So it's actually, sorry, that was Eco 1. The percent slope shall be measured as a 7.5-foot fall over a 50-foot distance. The design should be suited to the lot and minimize the amount of cut and fill. So it's in any 50-foot distance measurement. And we have worked with people, and I do agree that we agreed to the transit map. We uploaded a PDF stating exactly how to measure within that 50-foot, and I agree we could have been clearer to say 50 feet from the structure itself. But I do think that basically the ordinance says we can go 50 feet from any distance, and we do 50 feet away from the proposed structure.
Would you read that to me again?
Sure. The percent slope shall be measured as a 7.5-foot fall in any 50-foot distance.
Okay, but this was measured in a 50-foot distance,
That's correct. Centering on the structure.
centering on the structure, and which doesn't sound like 50 feet away from the structure. Doesn't sound like it needs to be 100 feet to me. Okay, I understand how my confusion is cleared up, and I appreciate the reading that ordinance to me. I have no further questions.
Okay, does anybody else? We'll turn to the public now, and if anybody speaks in opposition, you'll have an opportunity to return. Thank you. Are there members of the public who would like to speak in favor of this petition? If so, please come to the podium or raise your virtual hand online. If we see no one, are there members of the public who are in opposition to this petition? If so, please raise your virtual hand or come to the podium. No? Okay, so we return to us for further discussion and/or a motion.
Well, I'm I'm satisfied that the building site, while it's in an area of steep slope, is not itself in violation of the ordinance. As to whether it's 25 feet from the center of it or 25 feet from the edge of it, given this evidence, it sounds like the area in question, this little flat top, is going to be appropriate. So I guess I don't think it's, the evidence, it seems to me, seems to establish that it doesn't violate the proposal doesn't violate the ordinance, but that's not much of a decision. So I think I'm going to move to grant the variance in light of the evidence as to the actual extent of the slope.
Does that
Which
include
variance?
both variants?
Yes, both variances. One for the reason set forth in the staff report. The other, the second one, for the reason that the general slope requirements are of concern, but the specific slope in this area alleviates that concern for me and makes me comfortable voting in favor of this.
Mr. Daly?
This is an interesting conundrum I find myself in. I don't know that I either understand what you're offering or whether or not I just disagree with what you're offering. However, I believe that variances 2582 alpha and 2582 bravo should be approved because while listening to testimony and the petition, the staff's presentation, I found practical difficulties, even referring back to the definition in Chapter 850 of the code of practical difficulties, that all four criterion of those appeared to be met. So I agree, but for different reasons, and
Okay,
I don't know that I can.
If you want to make the motion saying that, I will second it.
Does Mr. Morris have anything to add?
Oh, excellent question.
His insight is always appreciated, and I don't know the technology well enough.
Yeah, I do not really have anything additional to add. Thank you. I do agree that practical difficulties have been met.
All right, I will motion, if I may have the floor, Madam Chair.
Sure.
I will motion that variances 25-82 alpha and 25-82 bravo both be approved based on demonstration of practical difficulties.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve both VAR-25-82A, which is the Eco Area 2 1 acre contiguous buildable area, and VAR-25-82B, which is the Eco Area 2 15% slope encroachment, both to Chapter 823. A vote yes is a vote to approve both variances. Jeff Morris?
Yes.
Pamela Davidson?
Yes.
Margaret Clements?
Yes?
Skip Daly?
Yes.
Guy Loftman?
Yes.
Motion is approved 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Willard, and good luck to you. And we appreciate your coming before us and sharing with us your proposed plan and working with our staff. Thank you. Okay, Happy New Year. Okay, thank you, Mr. Willard. Yes, thank you, thank you. And-
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
I think we're finished, right, Jackie?
There was
Yes.
old business. Did that get?
The old business was published as continued, so that
Okay.
one has been continued and possibly further continued, but we'll keep you updated. The only thing I wanted to mention as part of our reports is that at the next meeting, we'll be voting on chair and vice chair, so please think about that. in the
Thank you.
meantime.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and if there's a motion to adjourn,
I move to adjourn.
okay, nobody objects.
I don't think so.
No. Okay, thank you. Bye,
beautiful
Jeff.